They also had Tomas trying to roll the R's in his last name today. Navarro. I can't roll the R's. I'm too white. But when he tried to roll his R's in the Navarro last name, all I could think was just bring back Cheryl so that we can have some real flavor. Hello, fellow Beyond the Gates viewers. Here to talk about today's Tuesday episode of the show. Not quite as good as yesterday's episode to start the week because there's a couple of characters that I just can't like watching anymore. Talking about Tomas and Vanessa, which we'll get into later. I want to first talk about the best scenes today, which were the scenes with Hayley and Lynette. In my opinion, Lynette's been a great addition to the show for me. Ever since she came on Friday, I feel like she's injected a lot of intrigue into Hayley's story. And I think it's because we're finally getting a backstory on Hayley. And after today's episode, more importantly, Hayley is finally getting a friend. I mean, I feel like I have been asking for Hayley to get a friend since very early on doing reviews here on the show because I felt like she was just so shunned from the rest of the cast, which was the point of the Duprees shunning her. But because most of the cast was shunning her, she didn't have anyone to talk to except for Bill all the time. And so that was definitely damaging to the character. But now, in recent months, they've done a great job with the Hayley character. Once they made her a scammer who is trying to scam Bill for money and even wanting to kill him to get $10 million from his life insurance policy, it's been great for the character. And I think Lynette is another addition that is great for the character. Once again, just like at the end of yesterday's episode, we learned that Hayley's real name is Val or Valerie, but she really, really wants to go by Hayley Hamilton now. Today's scenes with Lynette and Hayley was Hayley convincing Lynette that she really does love Bill. Bill's not another Mark. She's happy behind the gate. She's finally in the place she always wanted to be. With the backstory, we learned that Lynette definitely used to help Randy and Hayley in the past with all of these schemes of theirs, and that Lynette talked about how it was always them being a part of Hayley's game and that Hayley was always the one that was just so good at cutting and releasing all of these marks. Lynette was talking about how they have to live the con the whole time, so she's going to keep calling Hayley Hayley and not Val because that's something Hayley taught her back in the day. Lynette also talked about how Bill resembled a lot of Hayley's past marks, but that Bill is more good looking than I guess her past marks. Hayley is saying she fell in love with Bill and Bill is not a mark. So Hayley did a good job of convincing Lynette that she's out of the game and she found a keeper. But she was also a little paranoid that Lynette actually came to town looking for her. But Lynette told Hayley that no, she is actually in trouble with the law. And she was looking for a good lawyer. And Bill was recommended. She's trying to get off of these embezzlement charges against her because she's too pretty for prison, which facts she is. But Hayley was also trying to convince her today that there are new problems behind the gates, even though Hayley is where she always wanted to be. Lynette told Hayley that she has more lives than a cat and that Hayley's always been bougie, but now the curtains match the drapes and Hayley actually has all this money now, this Dupree money because of Bill's prior marriage. They end up toasting near the end that Lynette is happy for Hayley that her friend finally gets what she deserves. So Hayley has a friend now. They go way back. They have a good past. We're going to see interactions with Randy at some point this week because of the preview we saw from last week. I'm liking what we're building here. I don't know what it all means for the Bill being poisoned story, but it's a great direction for the character of Hayley, and I just really like Lynette, in case anyone can't tell from my last 3 videos. Bill was with Tomas today, which was pretty groan-worthy. Bill wanted Tomas to look into Lynette Wise, do a deep dive on her, do this huge background check to see if this case is actually possible, because Bill is thinking it is an unwinnable case, but he's also trying to test Tomas. They continue to make Tomas trying to climb the ladder at this law firm. But as I've been saying since last week, I don't care. The Tomas character sucks in every way. Having to watch him later in the episode with Kat again, them rehashing their same issues. Tomas still being a dick to Kat, actually, even though Kat definitely does have her faults and Kat can be quite negative. Tomas has been a shit boyfriend this whole time, and they just don't have chemistry. The show will never make me care for the Kat and Tomas pairing. They also had Tomas trying to roll the R's in his last name today. Navarro. I can't roll the R's. I'm too white. But when he tried to roll his R's in the Navarro last name, all I could think was just bring back Cheryl so that we can have some real flavor in a character, because Tomas ain't it. Anyway, when Tomas left to go talk to Kat, Hayley headed back to the office. She had the same nail polish color that she had before she went to get her nails done, which was her excuse to Bill yesterday. She played it off that she just got the same color. Bill asked Hayley if Lynette came off as innocent because he knows that Hayley's good at reading people. She said she couldn't get a good read on that. Bill says he's good at reading people too, and that Hayley doesn't want to spy on her friend, which what he really was talking about was Tomas, because they did that thing way back when Hayley was trying to use Tomas to make Bill jealous. He wants Hayley to spy on Tomas, I guess. He's trying to test Tomas. Hopefully Tomas fails this test and is out of the show. That's my hope. Hoping for that a lot. Do I see it happening? No, but I guess I can have that hope. Now, the other big story today continues to be Anita's health. She was back home with Vernon today after getting her biopsy done, and Vernon could tell that something was wrong, but Anita continues to hold on to this secret. It is crazy that Vernon and Anita right now are holding on to these secrets when it comes to each other. When Vernon's secret is going to end up being this sweet thing that he's going to end up doing for Anita, which is probably seeing for her, which is what we all speculate. But Anita's holding this more heavy secret that she might have these health problems that could become quite serious. I don't know if the show is going to go there with this health crisis for Anita, but with the way they've been building it up this week, I do think that is a big possibility. We could be in for a breast cancer story with Anita, and I do think Tamara Tooney is going to do a good job at that. I think she's already doing a good job. Anita has been very different these past 2 episodes than any episode prior. You can see it in her eyes. You can see it in her whole demeanor. She's doing a good job so far with this part. Now, at the start of the episode, Andre was giving Dani a foot massage, but they both ended up at Vernon and Anita's. And Dani could tell that something was wrong with Anita too, but it was because of the question Anita was asking, which was for Dani to promise. I guess it wasn't a question, it was more of a statement. She wanted Dani to promise that if something happened to her, she needed to make sure that Dani was going to take care of Vernon. And of course, Dani is going to see that something is off with that statement. Anita continued to distract Dani with Christmas planning, but by the end of the episode, Dani could still tell that something was clearly wrong with her mother before she and Andre left the house. Chelsea started this episode with Kat. They were talking business with Chelsea Kat, but she ended up at the end of the episode going to her mom's house, kind of snooping around. I guess she was looking for her Christmas presents that her mom may have gotten her. They've really done such a terrible job with the Chelsea character lately. I think it's because her story with Madison happened off screen so much these past couple months that right now Chelsea seems pretty directionless. And I don't really have much commentary on her scenes with Kat today, nor with Dani. But Dani did ask Chelsea if she thought something was off with Anita. Chelsea didn't see that quite yet. But I guess Dani can certainly tell that something is off with Anita. And Dani might be the one to get through to Anita to tell her the truth about what is going on. And last and certainly least, we must talk about Vanessa, who visited the annoyed Joey. I think the biggest problem with these Vanessa and Joey scenes, and there's actually a lot of problems with these scenes, they're becoming repetitive, where Vanessa comes to Joey wanting something. Joey tries to fight whatever she wants, but eventually gives in, and it's just rinse and repeat. And today, Vanessa was coming on strong again to Joey, acting very pathetic when she talked about their relationship and how when one of them runs, the other one chases, even though Joey says he doesn't chase. And then Vanessa had the line of, she would crawl to get to Joey. Yuck is all I could think when she said that line. So this was another episode of Vanessa just being down bad for Joey and wanting more than he is giving right now. Joey was saying that they have all the time in the world to continue to develop their relationship. Vanessa's line was that that's probably the same thing that Doug thought too. Joey promised that what happened to Doug won't happen to him. She went into all these lines about how she wasted time with Doug and doesn't want to waste another minute. That she loved Doug but wasn't in love with Doug anymore. I just continue to be quite bamboozled as to what we are supposed to get as an audience out of this story. And I feel like I've been asking this for months when it comes to Vanessa and Joey. Because on one hand, we have Joey, who is the big bad villain on the show. And on the other hand, we have Vanessa, who to me, anyway, is the most unlikable character on the show. Even more so than Tomas. And so you put those two together, and it's hard for me to like these scenes. And today, by the end of the episode, I was zoning out of a lot of the Vanessa and Joey scenes because Vanessa just comes off as gross, pathetic. She cheated on Doug with Joey. Doug's now dead. She's saying things like if Doug was still alive, she still would have left Doug for Joey. And so there's just, I've said this for weeks, there's nothing redeemable about Vanessa anymore. So, yeah, I zoned out by the end. It seemed as though Joey brought up the fact that he doesn't want to go wherever they're headed in their relationship because her kids just lost their father. And even though Vanessa felt like their marriage, her and Doug's marriage, was over a long time ago, their kids don't feel that way. Joey always brings up good points to Vanessa, and Vanessa just acts pouty and pathetic. So yeah, I don't know where they're going with this story, and I've had a hard time carrying for quite a while now, and every time this story is a part of an episode, it is starting to drag the rest of the episode down. That is how I feel about Vanessa and Joey at this point. But I did love the Hayley and Lynette scenes today. I like that Randy will be involved in this too, and also Bill. I feel like it's good for the Poison story overall. Hopefully Lynette can get Randy and Hayley in line and have them stop acting like idiots with this plot to poison Bill. But they're also going to not tell Lynette their plans. They're going to keep trying to play it off as though Hayley's actually really in love with Bill to Lynette. And we'll see if Lynette can actually be the one to get to the bottom of things. I actually am not so sure if Lynette believed everything that Hayley was selling to her today or not. So, a lot of possibilities there. Glad Hayley has a friend. The Tomas scenes today, though, were hard to care about. And the Vanessa and Joey scenes today were even harder to care about. The Anita story, though, has the possibility of getting heavy, which will honestly be tough. Hopefully in a good way, but I guess we'll find out.